Hey y'all. So if you don't know, yesterday WWE released a lot of wrestlers. And when I mean a lot, I mean a lot of wrestlers. I was going to talk about this the day of, but I think at the time when I found out that they were releasing wrestlers, it was, I think, maybe 4 people. I knew it was going to be Ollie, and then I saw Rick Boogs, and then I think I saw Dana Brooke, and then I had work to do, and I was going to maybe make a video a couple days later. And like I said, I usually don't get on Twitter, but I didn't see that there were a lot more people that got released, as you just saw. I'll read off some of them. Mustafa Ali, Rick Boogs, Aaliyah. If you don't know, I think she was the former tag team champ with Raquel. Top Dollar, which I was kind of surprised on. Tegan Knox, Emma, Riddick Moss, which if I'm not mistaken, was Madcap Moss. He performed at WrestleMania with Baron Corbin. Elias, and the two that kind of surprised me, Shelton Benjamin and Dolph Ziggler, considering that they were both, I would say, like veterans in the business, including Dana Brooke, but she was kind of lesser. Mansoor and Mace, who were a part of the Maximum Male Models. Quincy Elliott, Daba Kato, hopefully I said that right, and Yulisa Leon. Now, I'm not going to sit here and talk about how I knew every single wrestler that was on the list, or I had a deep connection with them, but I do want to state 2 things. One is that this is sad news. I don't care if you or the people that are watching this say like, oh, but I didn't care about those wrestlers, or oh, I didn't care about those storylines. They were essentially just fired a couple of days ago, and saying like, oh, I idn't care if that person got fired is kind of a mean thing to say, like severely. And the second thing that I want to state is that I've been seeing a couple of comments on people's TikToks that are talking about the situation, saying that, oh, this is probably due to like Nia Jax or something. And I want to say that please do not blame the remaining wrestlers for the reasons that the wrestlers that I just stated were fired. Unless unless you're thinking like, oh, well, they're like bigger, they're higher up than them, so they must have like had some way of doing it. Unless you are part of WWE, don't say that. Like, I know, y'all sometimes y'all barely use y'all's brains, but come on, use your noggin. And this isn't technically the first time that we've dealt with people being mass released in WWE. I think the last time was during the pandemic, and I feel like I was a little bit more angrier around then, mostly due to because it was COVID, and I think Vince McMahon kind of had like a lot more dwelling into that. And I think he kind of had something to do with this, or I think it was because it was like a new business deal just came up with like TKO, but that's just like hear me saying stuff. I could be wrong, and you can tell me in the comments. But long story short, please treat the people that were released like human beings, and don't like go in their comments saying like, oh, well, you didn't do a lot on TV. Which is actually another point I want to talk about, is that just because they're not on TV doesn't mean that they weren't doing stuff. Here's an example. If you can't see it, that is Rick Boogs being, he's fighting Omos. And this was maybe a couple months ago. And this was also around the time where he wasn't on TV as much, but he was still doing stuff. It just wasn't on TV. And there are probably several other wrestlers on there that fought on like the live events that just weren't on TV, main event. I think that's a show that's, I think that's before Raw comes on. And then there's like NXT Level Up. So just because they're not on TV, that doesn't mean that they were useless. But TLDR, treat these wrestlers like human beings. They just got fired. Please give them some respect. And please don't blame other wrestlers for them being released.